Hi, I'm Eric Heffinger. I'm the advisor of Grizzlies Abroad, Wadsworth High School's foreign travel program. And this video is about our upcoming 2026 trip to Ecuador. We also are going in 2025 to Greece. That is a separate video that we have if you'd like information on that. So, a little bit about myself. I am the journalism and English teacher here at the high school. I'm a husband, father of 3 kids. I've traveled to over 40 US states, hoping to get 50 in the next couple of years. And I've been to 7 different countries so far. We'll be adding Ecuador and Greece to that list really soon. 4 of the countries that I've been to, I have taken students with, and I have traveled across this country with, I'm not exaggerating, hundreds and hundreds of students. I mean, the last Europe trip we did was 110 people that went on that trip alone. So big trips, little trips, they are all great learning experiences. My favorite way to learn is to travel. If I get the opportunity to take my students somewhere, I'm going to try my best to do that. I've done everything from Disney trips to, as I already said, European travel, South America. I took some kids out to Iowa for the Iowa caucus to learn about the presidential primaries. This is how I learn best, and I find that students really dive into subjects that maybe they didn't even know that they were interested in because they've never had a chance to see or experience these things. It is the opportunity of a lifetime to get out there and just start to understand yourself and what you want when you see how other people live. We use this company called Explorica, and I've loved them so far. They've been great to us. We've been using them since 2016. Um, Really helpful in getting everything planned, finding hotels, booking flights, right? Stuff that you don't necessarily see, but I definitely go through. And then from your point of view, the organization from collecting the money, working with you on payment plans, and of course, the most important part, the on the ground tour directors that are with us. So Explorica takes care of all the financial aspects of it, um, which is so helpful to us with how much this all is. And they get us the tour directors. And so far, all of our tour directors have been phenomenal. So the tour director is a person that literally meets us at the airport in the country and then stays with us the entirety of the trip. They know the language of the area. They are from the area. They know the history of these places. They've been there before, and they are there to help the students learn. And they are wonderful, wonderful. I've had so many students that may even ask just silly questions, and they're so respectful and kind with them. I can't speak enough about the tour directors that we've had through Explorica. And if the tour director doesn't know about an area, they hire a secondary tour director. So some days we have multiple people in there to help us translate, to help find and buy stuff, whatever it may be. It's a great asset to have. They also have 24/7 security calling. So if there is a problem, we can be in contact with them at all times to help us, whatever it is we need. For instance, when we were in Peru a couple years ago, our flight home from Lima was canceled. So we got on the phone with them immediately. And within an hour, they had a new bus booked for us that was taking our students to new parts of the city to tour. Then they scheduled a free cooking class so we can learn to cook in Peruvian food to help occupy the day. And then they picked us up and took us to the airport later that evening for our flight instead of just making us sit there. That's the kind of stuff that Explorica has done that made me really confident in this company. During COVID, we were 3 weeks away from from going on a trip, and obviously the world shut down, so we had to cancel. Explorica worked with every single person to make sure they got all of their money back during that time. So it's a very, very good company. I like working with them. Our trip specifically to talk about is Ecuador. It is a long trip. It is 14 days. Before I dive into that, let me also tell you about the cost here, okay? So the cost for this trip with the $200 discount that I'll talk about a little bit right now is $4,999, so $5,000, okay, for this trip, which is a lot. I know, and all of the prices for all of the tours have just everything is going up these days, and I don't see it going back down, unfortunately. But for $5,000, you do get a lot with this trip. This being the longest trip we've ever done is 2 full weeks, and I'll show you in a second why it's going to take us that long to see all these things. So for our beginning of our trip, we're going to start in Quito. Sorry, I said Kyoto. Kyoto's Japan. Quito, which is the capital of Ecuador. And we're going to start with the culture and the people of the area. So we're going to go see their main government buildings, facilities, churches, all the important cultural heritage sites that are there, and get to know them. And then we're going to move down into the Amazon basin. And I'm going to skip the names a lot of these. I am not a Spanish teacher and I've never been to Ecuador, so I don't want to butcher these things. So if I do, my sincerest apologies. From Quito, we will fly our drive into the Amazon and we will start exploring the rainforest. So one of the first things that we're going to be doing is going to the hot springs. And then we are going to move into an animal rescue shelter on day 5, where animals that were taken for zoos or circuses or abused in some way, and they're trying to integrate them back into the rainforest. This is where they take care of them and do stuff. We're also going to visit with the Kichwa people, which are the indigenous people of the area. When I was in Peru, we met with some of the Kichwa people as well. It was a really, really cool, eye-opening experience to see how they live. We're going to do some whitewater rafting on day 5, which is going to be pretty exciting. And now the Napo River can get bumpy, but this is not like a class 5 rapid there. So this is not something that students have to have like prior training on. We will have instructors there. We will have safety equipment there, and we will all learn together. And it is a lower level, but it still would be a lot of fun. From there, we'll move on to Banos, and we are going to be going up into it's like a cloud forest, as they call it, just so high up. So we're going to very, very different elevations. Lots of hiking. We're going to go see some waterfalls. We're going to go hike some volcanoes, right? So, I mean, if you look at this picture here, we're going to be down in the water. So bring your swimsuits and then bring a jacket, because we're going to go way, way up there. And from Banos, we go back to Quito. And then from Quito, we catch a plane and we fly out to the Galapagos Islands. So we were just up in the mountains of the Andes, right? And now we are down at sea level. So we will be all over the place. We're going to be exploring a lot of different animals. As I've been told by Senior Tillerson, who is the new Spanish teacher here this year, he spent a couple months in Ecuador with students, that you can barely walk around the Galapagos without stepping on an animal. There's so many wild animals there, from the giant tortoises to the blue-footed boobies. Like, nope. What am I pointing that way? No, it's all backwards. They're that way. We're going to be exploring a lot of the island and just hiking everywhere to go see these things and their nests and where they live and whatnot, and learn about them. So this is a very biological trip as well, a science-based trip. Mr. Jury is helping plan this trip, and it's part of his AP Environmental Sciences class, right? We're going to spend some days on the beach. There's going to be beach time, and we're going to go snorkeling. We're going to go try to see some of these animals in the water as well. We're also going to be able to go to the Charles Darwin Research Center, where Charles Darwin discovered natural selection and came up with the theory of evolution there. We're going to go study there. And then we're going to move to the Twin Craters, start moving around that parts of the islands. We're seeing actually multiple islands in this. And then we go back to Quito, because that's where our flight has to come out of to get back to the United States. We'll spend a little bit of time on the last day at the markets place there, so everybody can get all the little gifts for mom and dad and friends. And then we will return home. So it'll be 14 days, multiple islands. We're in the rainforest. We're climbing mountains, whitewater rafting, snorkeling, you name it. We're going to be all over the place. What's included with this? Well, besides everything that I just talked about, round trip airfare comes with this. All of our transportation, buses, planes, boats, you name it, all covered. Everybody gets a room and a roommate. So depending on the rooming situation, it could be 3 or 4 beds in a room. When I say beds, I'm talking twin-size beds is typically what we saw when we went down to Peru. Ecuador is right next door. Seems to be the same setup as we look into hotel rooms there. Yes, you will get to pick your roommate. And while you may not know everybody that's going on the trip right now, over the next 2 years, as we are planning this trip, we are going to have multiple meetings to exchange food, try some Ecuadorian recipes, learn the history of where we're going to, all the things we need to know before we get there. We're going to spend time together, and we really hope that you find people that you are happy to room with, because we're going to be together anyway all day in very tight quarters, traveling together constantly. You will get full breakfast, full lunch, and dinner on this trip. You do not need to buy any food whatsoever. All of it will be provided for you, except snacks. If you want snacks, obviously, you have to get that. But entrance fees to anything that we go to, any museum, any buildings, churches, whatever it is, the Charles Darwin Research Center, right? All are part of this price. All guided sightseeing tours, all city walks, all guides that we have, whether it's just our guide that's with us or the extra guides that may be in the separate locations to help teach us, those are all covered. And you also have the 24-hour emergency service line. What will you have to do? You have to get a passport if you're coming with us. First, you got to start a payment plan. Then you got to get a passport. You got to have be able to travel to Cleveland Hopkins Airport on your own and get picked up there on your own. The tips for tour directors that is on here, we do not need to worry about that because that is built into the price that I showed you before. We used to collect cash and then like hand it out to the different bus drivers and whatnot. Um, that was a lot of cash to be carrying around a foreign country, and I just didn't feel comfortable with that. So now we build it into the price, and the tour directors then just mail them the check with their tips in and stuff like that, which I find to be a lot easier. And then you'll want spending money for any gifts that you want to bring, any beverages, snacks, stuff like that. $5,000 is a lot of money, and we're planning 2 years in advance. So my recommendation to you is to buy a travel protection plan. Um, I recommend the plus one. It's this one. It's the one that you can cancel for any reason. You get 75% of your money back, which is not the entirety, but it's a lot out of 5,000. So this is the good one to have. They have this one as well, but they have a lot of restrictions on it. So the plus ones is the one that we see students and families usually go with. Just so you're aware, we do have obviously some time for the passport since we're not leaving until June 2026 for this trip. But you'll have to have it at least 3 months beforehand because we have to confirm with the airlines that you have a passport and can travel to these places that we're supposed to be flying to. It takes about 8 to 12 weeks to get your passport. Sometimes it's even faster. I've seen it like 4 or 5 weeks a couple of times. But we want to make sure you do this well in advance, way before the 3 months that we're even talking about. I'll be checking on everybody that's going to make sure that they have those passports in time. It's just a safety thing. We need them. We have to have them to go anywhere, so we don't want anybody stuck because they can't go. They have different ways to pay for this on Explorica. All money will go through Explorica. None of it goes through me or Wadsworth High School. So the 3 ways they have is, one, you pay in full. You just write a check or put it on a card and say, there it is. It's paid off. The second way, and this is the way most people do it, is it's a payment plan. So the sooner you sign up, they take that price. One, the sooner you sign up, the cheaper it is because it's always a little more expensive as this goes along. So they take that price and they divide it by the amount of months before the trip. So the sooner you sign up now, the smaller each monthly payment is. And if you are a student that is helping to pay for this by yourself by getting a job or so, which a lot of them are, this is the way to go. So it's a lot easier to pay those off. And then the third way is that you do a manual payment plan. I'm sorry, number 2 is automatic. Number 3 is the manual. So automatic just comes out of an account, and then manual is you write them a check or you sign in each time and say, here's the money from my account each time. That's between you and Explorica and how you want to handle that. They do have a number that can call for any questions you have about money and payments if it's not working right for you, the sign-up's going wrong or anything like that. I get asked this question a lot about fundraising. So Wadsworth City Schools has a policy that if any money is raised for a fundraiser, it has to be spent evenly with all participants. So let's say 25 students sign up for Ecuador. 8 students get together and they have a great fundraiser and they bring in $2,000, let's say. That would be fine, a couple hundred for each student, right? But the problem is, even though only 8 students helped, Wadsworth School's policy is since we collected the money as a group, we have to spread it out evenly across all 25 of those students, even if they didn't do any work. So we have decided we're not going to do a group fundraiser, but if you want to do one on your own and you handle the money, that is completely fine. And then it could just be the people that are involved. But that's between you and your other peers if you want to set that up. Financial assistance, they offer it for Explorica. It's not much, though. It's $150 off if your household income is under $55,000 a year. So it's a little bit of something, but it's not going to save, everything for the financial assistance. I mean, if you have the financial assistance now and you use the $200 off, the discount code for early bird signups, I mean, now you're starting to get some real discounts that will help you pay for literally everything else, your passports and whatnot. So something to consider. How to enroll? I'm in the way. You need to go to this website, explorica.com/Heffinger-2171. That'll take you to our page that has our itinerary. Right now, it's kind of blank because we're so far out, but it will have all your flight information. It will have hotel information. It'll have contact information for all that stuff. It'll be on there, but it also has the registration area. So you sign up now on there. So as we get closer and we have those things, we will be putting them on that website so you can see that. And again, I said the $200 off code before May 23rd. If you use Travel 8J, that's how you get it to the price of the $5,000, $4,999. But you have to put that code in. If you guys have any questions at all, if you would like to talk to me about previous travels, concerns that you might have, questions that I did not cover on this quick little video, and I'm sure there's many of them, please send me an email, eheffinger@wadsworthschools.org. I can set up a time to call, we can talk, whatever it may be. But thank you for your time, and I hope to see you in Ecuador.